Hi, welcome. I'm Christine Weber. Thank you for joining me for my weekly live stream. I'd love to support mature yoga teachers and getting their wisdom out there to the world. I like to share tips on Wednesdays from my teachings that I hope are helpful for you. If you're a yoga teacher, you can share them. Try and help them use some practical stuff. So today, I want to talk to you a little bit about chanting in asana practice, why you might want to do it. And I'm going to show you one way, one just like one tiny little peek at a way to use some chanting in your practice. First of all, chanting in asanas is considered a traditional practice. And I'll tell you a little story. I was in Bodh Gaya. This would have been 1994. Oh my God, 30 years ago. I was in Bodh Gaya, which is the town that's sort of dedicated to Buddhism in India. And you'll see people from the various different Buddhist traditions. You know, Buddhism is not a monolith. There's many different versions of it. So you'll see people from very different versions from all over the world that come to Bodh Gaya. They're said to be a um, seedling of the original Bodhi tree under which Buddha achieved enlightenment in Bodh Gaya, and there's lots of people practicing under there. And one of the things that I saw back then, and I'm certain is probably still occurring today, were people doing versions of prostrations that look quite similar to salutations to the sun. So they'll, take their arms up over their head, and then they do these long prostrations, and they come back up and they repeat it. They often have like something on their hands and their knees because they do it all day long. But then they're repeating it with mantras. And so that's just one example of how you will see that traditionally that it's been done, and of course yoga has been used in the context of various different belief systems. Yoga itself, particularly Patanjali yoga, the classical yoga, is not in itself a religion. There's no specific deity other than Ishvara associated with the Yoga Sutras, and so in Ishvara is tends to be whatever your personal take on the higher self is. At any rate, that's one example of how you'll see chanting used in movement patterns. But also Krishnamacharya, who is the teacher of one of my teachers. One of the lineages that I have been trained in is Mini Yoga with Gary Kraft. And you'll see in Krishnamacharya's lineage that Krishnamacharya brought traditional Vedic chanting into asana practice. So it's not like it's something new or made up. And some of the chanting can be quite sophisticated. One of the things you can do is like chant a yoga sutra during a posture. When you repeat poses, it makes it even easier. So if you're doing, like for example, a warrior pose, where you inhale the arms up and exhale back down, you can and bend the front knee. You can do a chant there. It could be Vishokava Jyotishmati, for example, one of the Yoga Sutras. Like, it's a great way to practice. So that takes a little more time to teach you than I have in a short, video. It's like, the TikTokification of yoga. Oh, it's a challenge for all of us. um, and that being said, there are also little things that you can add. And so most people understand the word om. Most people who do yoga are okay with it, and often called the Shabda Brahma, the sound of the universe, right? So Om is a very simple practice, but also a powerful practice to use during your asanas. And there has been research showing that making that sound Om, has a strong effect on the vagus nerve. Actually, one study, the researchers suggested that it's similar to vagal stimulation, which is when they actually implant a device in your body that stimulates the vagus nerve. It's often used for things like epilepsy. And so the researchers have said that chanting Om may have a similar effect on the vagus nerve, and I would suggest it's less surgically invasive. Um, but of course, I wouldn't say like somebody should do Om instead of to deal with their epilepsy. Of course, I wouldn't say that, but it does make you think like having like chanting that chant of Om has physiologic benefits. It certainly has physiologic benefits, right? And it's a great one to start with if you want to try a little bit of asana practice with a mantra. Om is so good because everybody knows it. So today I want to show you one asana that, and it's called Chakravaka asana. So we're going to do from all fours or tabletop back to child's pose and repeat it and just show you how to do it. So in addition to stimulating the vagus nerve, the largest nerve of the parasympathetic nervous system, which is going to tend towards biasing the autonomic nervous system, or it will push the autonomic nervous system into the more of a parasympathetically activated mode. In addition to that, by just making the sound, it has another effect that complements or catalyzes that effect, which is that it helps you to lengthen your exhale. And lengthening the exhale, as long as it's comfortable and you're not feeling like you're pushing anything, tends to be a good thing for many, many people, especially in this high stress world. Okay, so here's how you're welcome to join me, right? So here's how you do it. So you start in tabletop. And when you inhale, you lengthen the spine and lift the chest, and you kind of glide your chest through your upper arm. Keep the low back rather long. It's not really an arched back here, it's a long back. And then when you exhale, you bend your elbows and draw your belly in and come to child. So inhaling forward, and then on the exhale, let your om last. Om, maybe 3, 4 counts, and do it again. So that's an easy way to lengthen the exhale. Om. If you want to make it longer next time, your exhale can last for 5 counts. Om. Right, and you could do that again. And then maybe next one, it could last for 6 counts, and then 7 counts, and even 8 counts. So you just gently and gradually lengthen your exhale. If you didn't catch my blog last week, it was a little bit of a critique of the 4-7-8 breath, and what to do instead. So I highly recommend you go to subtleyoga.com and check out my blog if you haven't already, about some alternatives to that kind of commonly prescribed, because it is prescribed in the medical world, breathing count. And then this week, I'm going to be writing about kumbhaka, which is, and a little bit about exhale, which is the pause at the end of the inhale or the exhale. I'm going to be writing about that a little bit. So make sure you check out my blog this weekend too. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next week. Bye.